Hit your button.
Uneducated, unfiltered, unhinged. This is the Mangina Dialogues. We at it again with your host Nick Scopes and the Gregolicious. You know how we do, cause you know we keeping it gangster and silly. Unplugged like a full swung titty. Bout get jitty, cause you know we down to the nitty and the gritty. And we make shit sound so damn pretty. Yeah, cause this unhinged comedy. And right now you're in the mix, so get ready. Cause we bout to get it poppin', and we ain't stopping.
Uneducated, unfiltered, unhinged. This the Mangina Dialogues. We at it again.
Hello and welcome to the Mangina Dialogues. I am your host, Nick Scopes.
And I'm the Gregolicious.
The Gregolicious is back.
Back.
And our guest today, she is the co-host and producer of Two Girls, One Mic podcast. Also, and I was excited when I read this, she is the infamous creator of Offensive Crayons, which I didn't know that was you. That's awesome. Our guest today, Alice Vaughn. What's up?
What did you expect?
I was pumped. I was like, oh shit, those crayons that say crazy shit on them. Yeah, I like that. I didn't know. I had no idea.
I don't know if you expected like a guy or like
No, I just you know, this little cute blonde girl was like, I'm gonna make offensive crayons. Like I love that. Like it's great. I think it's fantastic. I love that it says these crayons have been banned from Amazon for insulting children and Caucasians.
That's 100% true.
How does that letter come across from Amazon that says we're banning you for these 3 reasons?
So what happened was it was the first time I ever went viral. It was like 2 years ago. It was in January. My crayons were pulled. And at that point, I had thought, all right, I'm not going to be doing this thing anymore. It was a fun thing I tried and I did. And next day I went fully viral. And I was like, oh shit, I got to start taking pre-orders on my website. And then I realized, all right, I'm doing this crayon thing full time. But a few weeks later, after going back and forth with Amazon's lawyers, they finally got back to me and they gave me a note. Of course, it was from like their legal team in Indonesia. It's like, hey, we reviewed the products and they're offensive to children and Caucasians. You know, even after making the changes that they requested on the Amazon page, like for example, I can't publicly embrace that when we selected the factory on where to make our crayons, we chose the one with the most human rights violations. Apparently, you're not allowed to say that, even if it's true.
That's funny.
But yeah, so I've been banned off Amazon, so I can't sell them. It sucks, but it is what it is. You know, people can still grab them at offensivecrayons.com. And from time to time, like it's funny, like whenever I do go viral again, it's like, it's always a different group that's really angry at me. So I'm just waiting on like the moms to be next. I've already had like Jewish women and I've had like the gay community and I've had Republicans. I've had everyone. It's great. I love it.
How did you come up with the idea?
Together.
How did you come up with the idea for that?
It's the shittiest story ever.
Well, that's what this podcast is for.
The shittiest stories.
Yeah.
Should be our new name.
Yeah. Let's hear it. I want to hear it.
Stories. Really, I was trying to actually work on an action figure line, but I wanted to go through the whole Kickstarter process. So I was like, all right, what's something that's really cheap and easy to market that I can do? And I take notes, you know, on everybody, I feel like takes notes sometimes like in their phone of like crazy ideas, like, I don't know, like ham shoes, you know, both a snack and a wearable. And at one point I was like, all right, no one's made adult crayons. It's always been this thing people make fun of for like Crayola doing or not doing with their colors over time changing. So I thought, what if I just put this out there? Let's see if it hits. And then 48 hours after throwing it up, I'm getting calls from like the Daily Mail saying, hey, this is great. How'd you come up with this? Oh no.
Well, that's awesome. Is there any plans to like expand into new products?
So at this point, we have 5 editions.
Right.
We've come out with a couple products. I always like to do also fun marketing campaigns. So like when COVID started, when like shit was getting shut down, I had this whole marketing campaign where I said, guys, I've got an idea. We're gonna pay a dude to cough into some envelopes. It's gonna be like COVID roulette.
Oh my god.
I love
And
it. You're
people
sick.
bought them.
No.
Yes.
That's
There's a
very
market
funny.
for anything. I love America. What a place.
That's my favorite part about capitalism.
I'll tell you a funny story. My main business is I'm in consumer products, right? So similar to what you do.
Mhm.
And for years we would do parody product, right? So one of the, and like the biggest retailer of that kind of crap is Spencer Gifts in the malls, right? I'm sure you're familiar.
Mhm.
So we came up with a parody that we put on like shot glasses and stuff that was a version of the Coca-Cola logo that instead of saying I enjoy Coca-Cola, it said I enjoy vagina in the exact same script, right? So when you
Mhm.
looked at it, you're like, oh, that's the Coke logo, but it obviously said I enjoy vagina. So we sold that product for like 2 years. One day we get a letter from Coca-Cola asking us to stop producing this product, right? And I still kept the letter to this day because it's so funny. It's like 3 pages and it says in legal writing 25 times, you must stop saying I enjoy vagina. And then it would show a picture of like the shot glass or the artwork. And I'm like, this is the best letter I've ever gotten. And I can't see ever getting a better one in the history of business. I'm like, this is going to happen. And I kept it because it was that good.
See,
So,
I thought I couldn't get a better one from Amazon, and then I got a notice from like the Chinese trademark office.
wow.
And then from the Chinese trademark office, they basically said that we have to ban your product from the country
Yeah.
for what was it? It was something along the lines of disrupting the common peace
Yeah.
and being like a disturbance to the public social good.
Right. Well, it's funny because they obviously can ban all of that kind of stuff and pornography and all that stuff in China.
Oh yeah.
But they're fine with making the product and shipping it
Mhm.
outside of the country.
That's very true.
It's amazing what slave labor will do. And a communist system. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
right.
true.
So you're like crayons, you're not going to do like color by number books and
I
stuff like
have
that.
some coloring books out. There's one actually called Happy Little Dictators, where I took history's worst dictators and I mocked them. And I decided on each and every page, by the way, if you're a history buff, it's great because you're like, oh my God, that's Eagles Hill behind Hitler. And then like there's also like a German Shepherd licking his balls.
Right.
And Hitler's painting like Bob Ross with a Bob Ross fro. But then I'm not kidding. This book has also been banned from so many places because people are like, you're worshiping Hitler. I'm like, what?
That's so funny. I mean, it's
Dude,
great.
what is wrong with people, man? Why can't anyone? I mean, if Mel Brooks, who is a Jewish man, can make what is it, Hitler on Ice or
Springtime for
Springtime for Hitler, why can't anyone else be okay with it? Like, why does it? I don't get it. I do not understand.
Too many uptight people.
There are.
It's always people are, especially I find nowadays platforms are just so there's don't get me wrong, there's definitely a vocal minority of people who want stuff banned, but then there's also the platforms where are like, not on the safe side, just in case you kind of likes Hitler.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of curious, like what happened to you as a kid that it
Oh,
made
God.
Jesus.
you as an
Got
adult are like,
dark,
I'm
huh?
gonna make all these fucking crazy things. Like, well, the answer could be nothing. I'm not assuming that something happened. I'm just saying that, like there's got to be something there that made you like be like, oh, I want to make this, and outside of what spurred you on to make the crayons and the coloring books and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's funny. People always have asked me that because I mean, I grew up in suburbia.
Right.
You wouldn't think that I had like a messed up childhood or anything. I think everybody has their own version of like the way that their parents screwed them up.
Yep.
For me, I know that I definitely my social skills were horrific. I learned most of my social cues watching TV and sitcoms. Apparently it's a terrible idea.
What sitcoms though? Where were you learning most of this?
I feel like everything from, Nick and Knight to, everyday TV shows. So,
do you remember Are You Afraid of the Dark? They used to scare the shit out of me as a kid. It's the worst. I hated
or the
it.
best.
No, I used to have a panic attack. I hated it.
Where'd you grow up?
Anyways,
What suburbs?
New Jersey. So I feel kind of dirty saying that.
I grew up in New Jersey.
Greg's from Jersey.
Oh, what part? I was Clifton.
Yeah, Bergen County.
Figured.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like a piece of shit, right?
Right on.
Yeah.
You ended up in Connecticut, so.
The worst part of Bergen County.
That's right. He's
What, Elmwood Park?
No, is Elmwood Park Bergen County? I don't think that's even Bergen County.
Yes.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
No, Saddle River.
Uh-huh.
That's where I grew up.
Very familiar.
Yeah.
But I guess I don't know. I've always been someone who's thought outside the box, and I like money.
Amen.
And
Yes.
I guess for me, I always like to push the lines and see, because the thing is, I find that there's definitely a number of people who are pushing lines, but sometimes I feel like enough people, especially comedians, are not capitalizing on their ideas of pushing lines. And I'm someone who's a big doer. So I always want to figure out how things work and function, especially in business. So when I had the opportunity of, oh, cool, I'm going to just make a product from scratch, I did it. And it was the best decision I had ever made. I've also made things like ball gag face masks.
That's what we need. That's what we need nowadays.
We definitely need one of those.
Guaranteed to keep people 6 feet away from you.
Guaranteed, especially if they see Pulp Fiction.
There's also another thing about another time you went viral.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I had to bring it up. I don't know,
I should just remove that from my site.
I was going to say, so the caption here is girl rides a motorized pleasure machine and her reaction tells she loves it. So what happened there? And then take us back to the moment in your childhood where you knew, no, I'm just, but what happened in that?
A hairbrush or an electric toothbrush.
Love it.
But yeah, so I was at the AE's Adult Entertainment Expo with a couple friends. This was 2 years ago. It was my first like big porn convention that I went to as a professional. And I'm wearing like jeans and a blazer, so I'm not dressed slutty or anything like that. And I'm just walking around checking out all the booths, and there's this one where it's so the Motor Bunny is the equivalent of a Sibian, and I said, all right, let me go and sit on it and see how strong this thing really is. I had my friend Emery record, because I thought, all right, if there's anyone who can record, it's the same guy who was the editor for the Aristocrats. So, and next thing I know, I thought it was a pretty funny video. So I shared it with a couple friends. Then next thing I know is like, I'm getting a week later, like a massive amount of texts from people I haven't spoken to in 10 years.
Wow.
That they saw me on World Star Hip Hop and on Live Leak, which, I always figured, the same site that's known for Russian dash cam accidents and suicidal videos would like have me go viral on it, right?
Duh.
I think the worst part is when my dad saw, or maybe it was the best part.
What was his feedback?
And he was like, you always used to sit on the washing machine when you were a kid or something like that.
It was more like, did you make any money up from this?
That's what it all boils down to.
I like Dad. Dad's smart guy. I like
Bergen County dads. Whatever. Did you make any money?
Making money? What's up?
The answer is yes. So
beautiful.
Although it's pretty much like my only gateway to like sex work, because I have a partner and he's not comfortable with me having an OnlyFans, even if on the OnlyFans I was like, but I want someone to see my disgusting peeling feet when I do the Korean foot things.
Someone would pay. There's a market for that as well.
Of course there is.
Right. And people are already jerking it to this. I want a couple bucks.
Yeah, no kidding.
Tell me about it. We have
Get your share.
our fans are loyal, man. They're dedicated.
So growing up in Clifton, I'm kind of curious, like how many times have you been to the Romance Emporium?
I've actually been 0 times, but I
Really?
know exactly which one you're talking
Well,
about. Yeah.
I think it's long closed now. But I used to always drive by that place on Route 3, and I'm like, what is that place? Like, it's a gigantic porn store. I'm like, it's got to be what that is, right? Like the world's
is.
biggest porn. No, it wasn't.
What?
It wasn't. No.
It's
Th-
not like
No.
an adult store? What?
No. So then someone was like, "Oh, you got to go to Romance Emporium. They have a killer cigar section." And I'm like, "What? Like, what are you talking about?
What is
like?"
this place?
I was like, "How could they have a killer cigar section in a porn store?" And my friend was like, "No, it's not a porn store. It's a department store with the world's most confusing name." And that's what it was. It was an old school, like New Jersey department store. You would like go in and it was like your cosmetic counter, your old lady clothes, and in the back they had one of the greatest cigar stores I've ever been in my life. Like huge, massive cigar store in this place called the Romance Emporium.
Or marketing on their part. I feel like.
Or
So,
great marketing.
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what to even think of that. That's crazy.
yeah, it's like Google it. You'll see this place and you'll be like, that place? That had to be. And it wasn't. So anyway, interesting.
I would have never guessed.
Yeah,
Just
nobody did. No one, like when I would be like, "Oh, you should go to Romance Emporium and get, cigars," they would look at me like, "You're talking about dildos." Like you're not talking about something that you would actually smoke. Well, whatever. But yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, why? So let's talk about your show.
Yeah.
How'd
So
you
my
guys-
show.
How'd you guys get started? How'd you guys get together, you and your co-hosts?
Yeah, Yvette. I'm not even gonna attempt her last name.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm
Don
gonna-
Tremont.
Don Tremont. Okay.
It's French.
I had a feeling. I had a small
you?
feeling. I did. Believe it or not.
So Yvette and I, we met in the science communication world. So we're both huge friggin' nerds. And at the end of the day, we wanted to start a show a few years ago. We thought, all right, we're two kind of smart ladies. What could we possibly talk about? And there were too many science things going on, and we thought, all right, we need to do our own thing. And we realized when we were joking around one day and shooting the shit that we both realized that we watched porn and we critiqued it in different ways. Like I would watch it and be like, oh my God, did you see the grout in that shower? It looked expensive. That's how you know, by the way, you're entering your 30s. You care about the shower grout.
Yeah, you're like, oh my God, look at that. Look at the bar in the background there. I love it.
Who was the
Chairs.
Was that a custom install?
Yeah.
That's not laminate, that's hardwood flooring. Oh.
You get more turned on by the fucking furniture and shit. You're like, oh my goodness.
He's got a
That
Toro
looks like
toilet.
an antique. So we realized no one was reviewing porn for the plot. And then we started looking into it, and there were so many different porn parodies, and we also porns with plots that we realized we should review. And since then, it's kind of become this crazy world where we've become commentators on, because when it comes to pornography and sex work, it generally touches on everything from technology, public policy, censorship, medicine, like all these things touch porn first before anyone else. And I felt like we kept getting the inside scoop, and then like the same thing everybody would start seeing like 6 months to 2 years later. And it's just been a wild ride. And it's been cool because we've been able to get a ton of people from the adult community on the show. But we also talk about like how porn is, we review porn for the plot. So it's always fucking hysterical.
Right.
And then we'll also like watch old porn and talk about how it doesn't hold up. Like Debbie Does Dallas, guys, super rapey. Who knew?
Who knew?
Yeah, back then everything was like fucking Mad Men. They didn't give a shit. Nothing.
Not even joking when I say that, because so you guys know how like when you watch porn nowadays, they're like, it's my 18th birthday.
I'm your stepsister.
Do you know why they do that?
Why?
There's a law.
Yeah.
And guess what? In
True.
Debbie Does Dallas days, there was no law. So they were, I'm not joking. In Debbie Does Dallas, they're like legit, oh, I'm 16.
They're
Really?
16-year-olds.
Yep.
Was that the age of consent back then or no? I think
Depends on the state.
that's what I was gonna say. Doesn't it vary state by state? But oh my god, that's insane. And how old do you think were the guys? Older, like old.
Depending on the actor, yeah. There's some were easily twice their age. But I mean, also there's plenty of girls right now in porn who are like actually 29, but they look young enough. Yeah. So like I was at an award show pre-COVID and someone said to me, oh my God, you look like you could do babysitter porn, which is like 21-year-old stuff. I'm like, thank you. Cause I've got a few years until like I'm only MILF.
That is so funny. So have you guys in all your episodes like talked about the classics?
Oh, totally. We've done a Behind the Green Door, Debbie Does Dallas. Let's see. We've done what's it called?
Throat?
Deep Throat. That was the first episode. There's so many that we've done. The opening of Misty Beethoven.
Okay. What was your favorite, would you say? Or what actually I should ask this. What plot was like the worst? Like you're watching it and you're like, oh my God, it's just like cringe worthy. Cause I love shit like that. It's funny.
So it's a toss-up between Fuller Holes, which is a play on Full House.
Yes, yeah.
And the Avengers Triple X parody by Axel Braun. And they're both so bad. I mean, and by the way, the Fuller Holes one was only bad because, so I know the guy who directed it, Leroy Myers. He's so sweet and so great. And most, like 90% of what he does, I absolutely love. But they sold it to Pornhub, and Pornhub, whoever did the fucking copywriting on this shit, like they, like in the, even the description, instead of like, you know, it would be like an Olsen twin getting banged and it'd be like Stephanie and, you know, the porn version of Stephanie. And I'm like, no, that's not even the right character. And they would cut out full segments. So you would be like, wait, they talked about the Biatch Boys and they showed it in a promo. Why do I not get this in the porn? Yeah. They cut out all the good stuff. So it made no sense at all, any of it.
Oh my God. I wish Bob Saget was actually in it. That would be even better.
He probably could be. He's one of the filthiest guys on the planet.
It's funny, right? Isn't that funny that he's one of the, and I had no idea. Obviously, you watch Full House as a kid and you're like, oh, it's fucking whatever. Dirty on stage, dirty stand up, like real aggressive. You would have no idea.
I would love to get him on my show just to review porn and see like how aggressive and disgusting he gets one day.
Have him review that. Like, what do you think of this? Is this accurate?
If you know the director from Aristocrats, he like his bit in that was probably the most disgusting. He wins. In that, hands down. So it's interesting. Like, what do you make of the dramatically changed porn industry in the last, say, 10 years, right? Where everything is online. It's free in most places, and but they're still making billions of dollars.
So there's good and bad. So where do you want me to start? Anywhere. I mean, the bad news is that, people have kind of become, in a sense, expecting to just, get some free porn and be okay with that. I'm of the mindset that you should pay for your porn. And a lot of people think, why should I do that? Well, why should musicians or any creative do what they're doing for free? Why should, artists do what they're doing for free? Writers, it's no different. being a porn star nowadays is not just, hey, like pulling up a webcam, but it's a lot of work. I would say it's comparable to, being a full-time YouTuber, except instead of just lighting your face and making sure your face looks good, it's like, okay, I have proper lighting on your asshole and make sure that shit's bleached.
Get on it.
Yeah. But I mean, there's also good in a sense that, I mean, there's more ways for you to market yourself than ever before. There's less barrier to entry. You don't have to be so reliant on studios, which is great because if you don't want to work for a studio, you could just work for yourself. So I have tons of friends who just work for themselves. And I think it's awesome that they could just make a full-time, living off that. Frankly, some of them I really envy.
Yeah. Yeah. We had on, I mean, it was one of our first episodes actually. Last summer we had on Danny Daniels. And,
She's sweet. I haven't had her on the show yet, but I've heard great things.
yeah, she's awesome.
So nice. And her husband Vic too is great. I think honestly he's the one who told me about your crayons.
Oh yeah, because I hung out with Vic on Race Wars.
Did you? Okay, yeah, because I swear it was him, Greg. I'm pretty sure because I saw that and I was like, oh, maybe.
Yeah, you guys seem like a couple of guys who would talk about nerdy crayons.
We're both very handsome, bald men.
When we talked to Danny, we interviewed both of them together actually. And one of the things I asked her a similar question about, how has the business changed now that, you could go online and on any device anywhere outside of a communist country, get free porn to your heart's content. And what she had some very smart things to say and great feedback about it, that she looks at places like Pornhub, I think it was Pornhub or maybe Porn, one of the two, where they use that as a hub to drive people to their paying sites, right? Because they're partners that they obviously put it up, it's free, but then you could pay for premium content or drive people over to whatever it might be, your OnlyFans or your own websites, and then use that to monetize. And she really said that's a key, and that's how people put up little snippets, couple minutes, 8 whatever, and use that as the platform to move people over. And then of course she talked shit about the ones that are just stealing content and putting it up in its entirety. But I just think the whole thing is interesting, very similar to how you related it to musicians and music and how that business changed.
Yeah, I mean, it's still really frustrating, but you have to work with what you have. Unfortunately, the tube sites have kind of changed the mindset of how people are, utilizing pornography. So really, for the Pornhub to actually kind of work with the porn stars, the payouts aren't awesome, but it is really a marketing tool, as she brought up, because there's no other way to use it. It's either you work with them or you don't.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I actually do want to go back to what Nick was brought up before about that Sibian thing, because I've always
God.
No, I not in any graphic way, but I'm just curious because that thing I guess got popular because of the Howard Stern show. They brought it on and used it for years when girls would come on. And I mean, is that something people actually buy for their homes?
Oh, absolutely. So the Motor Bunny is it's a slightly cheaper version of a Sibian, and it's actually better. They have a ton of features that the Sibian doesn't. It's like the Sibian was the first one to market and everybody knows it, but the Motor Bunny is like a competitor. So overall, I mean, I have to say that when I've spoken with even their internal team, they tell me about how couples use it, or how, let's say there's a husband and wife and they're a distance apart, and the husband can utilize Wi-Fi and Bluetooth to play games and interact with his spouse when he's overseas. You hear a lot of stories like that. I mean, it's like any toy or tool you bring into the bedroom to enhance. It's fun, and it's for some people and it's not for others.
Yeah, no, I just mean because it's this gigantic piece of equipment that it's not like other toys and things that you can hide in your, or not hide, but just put in your drawer. Like this thing is out in your house for the world to see when they're over.
Oh honey, I have an armoire of shit.
Right. No, I'm sure, but when people come over, do they go on a tour of it?
Yes. Are you kidding me? I have a massive freaking tentacle hanging over my bed that's about like 24 inches long that I got from Bad Dragon. Of
Wow.
course they're gonna see that.
Yeah, well,
Nice.
right.
Into like hentai. What's that porn? The octopus, the hentai.
Yeah. But Bad Dragon is a company where they specialize in making really high quality, nice toys at custom sizes. It's really awesome. And the first time I ever saw like the tentacle, it'll take your breath away.
Like, you hear that?
I heard. I just got my first, not my first sex toy, but I just got this massive cock ring sent to me by it was made by Hot Octopus, I think is the company.
I'm familiar with them.
Yeah, so I was on a podcast called Shameless Sex, and if you're familiar with them, so they sent me
Very.
it. Okay, awesome. They sent it to me, and I was like, watching me take this out of the package, and like, I was like, what the fuck? How does this work? Because it's supposed to like go around your whole junk and stimulate underneath, in your taint and her, and I'm like, this is gonna be interesting. I'm not a toy guy, but I'm trying to expand my horizons. I'm new.
I cannot wait till I get the video of this happening.
Video, I'm gonna use it on you, bro. What are you talking about?
I prefer, for now, the video's fine.
Whatever, man.
But
One of these days.
I'm gonna wake up to that in the morning.
Speaking of videos and cock rings, you guys know about like the GoPro cock ring, right?
No, there's a
Yes. It's not officially made by GoPro, but it is.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
It is an actual like camera on the cock ring. It's amazing. So if you did want it like a POV,
Kinda, yeah. I'm gonna check this out. Do you know do you know the name of the company by chance?
no, but if you just type into
Google
Google GoPro cock ring, I'm sure you'll find it.
I'm doing that right now.
Yeah. We're gonna pause here for the cock ring. Speaking
Throwing
of
it on
cocks,
Amazon wish list.
yeah,
Boom.
exactly. Don't get banned from Amazon.
Yeah, right.
But speaking of cocks, we should mention our sponsor here, Manscaped.
Yes.
One of our friends, Cody Marino. Yeah, so our beautiful sponsor, Manscaped. Nick, why don't you talk about it?
It's one of my favorite tools that I've ever used. It's my favorite pre-sex toy to be shaven and clean before it's time to take action. I truly enjoy this thing. I got all my friends to buy it too. And we have a code, don't we, Greg?
It's Mangina 20. What does that get you?
It's you 20% off. The way you said it freaked me out. I don't know. Gets you 20% off your first order. They have a million things. There's cologne, there's ball deodorant, ball toner. If you're older like Greg, you need to keep it tight. All that stuff.
What toner does, but okay.
There's ball enlarger. Just to give the illusion of your balls being slightly larger.
That's coming
Now,
in 2020.
Alice, I want to ask you, I've always, every woman's different. Do you like it clean shaven or you prefer a little bit of hair?
If you're gonna have hair, you have to keep it neat because
Gotcha.
look, no girl going down or guy, I don't care who you are down there. No one wants hair in the back of their throat.
Nope.
No one.
Truth.
Yeah.
Amen.
So number one, wash your junk. And number two, get some Manscaped products. You guys are getting a discount. I don't know. I assume.
Oh yeah, 20% off your first order.
Mangina 20 at www.manscaped.com.
Exactly. Save money and impress whoever is gonna blow you.
That was my senior quote, by the way.
All their stuff smells really good. It's like the cologne, all the toners, deodorant, like everything. It's really great product, and the actual Manscaped shavers are, for the money, the best on the market. Like, use it on your face, on your anywhere you want, and it is by far better than anything you're going to buy from one of the shaver brands. I use it for everything, and I'm kind of hairless as it is, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, you're like a little baby seal. You're cute.
Baby seal. Anyway, enough about Manscaped.
There's also a flashlight on the end of it, which is good for dark crevices. Anyways, that's the best.
So when you started this show, like, did you expect to be full-fledged in the world of, like, the sex business?
Yes and no. I mean, we really weren't completely sure what we were starting. And then once we started doing research, we were like, all right, looks like we're going knee deep into this. But it's been awesome because we get to talk about things like, teledildonics, the science and technology behind, like sex toys, like we were just talking about. Or, like right now, everybody's talking about Section 230. Most people, by the way, commenting on it have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. But sex workers have been pounding the fist of like online censorship for years, and the issue of, hey, if you repeal this is going to cause more censorship, not less, and all these fun things. So yeah, we do talk about sex work a ton, and the whole world with porn and sex, and we make it super digestible for anyone to listen. I mean, even if your mom wanted to listen, we won't stop her. She's into it. But we try making it interesting enough so that way, it's funny because we actually have a super, when it comes to our audience, I want to say, is some of the smartest audience members that I've ever seen off any show. Like I've had doctors writing in, and people with PhDs and scientists and researchers, because when we cover something, we do it in depth and detail, because we do want to be accurate. We're also, like I said, huge nerds. So right. Science, sex, comedy, what's not to love?
So I just want to go back for 1 second. What was the first word you just started that with? Dildonic?
Oh, teledildonics.
Teledildonics. I have never heard that word before.
Yep. It's also known as cyberdildonics.
I have to look it up.
For virtual sex encounters using tech to mimic and extend human sexual interaction.
Nick, did you know what that meant?
Nope.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
But that's cool.
So
Really
I know. Listen, I came out of this with a great word and some knowledge.
Well, you said you have a science background, so you both do. I could see Yvette has like a whole blog she runs full time and all this stuff, and I mean, analytical chemist. You guys got some. So I could see why your audience is those types of people. Like it makes sense. So what did you do in the science world that kind of?
I was the physicist.
Were you really?
Yeah, I know people are like, wait, crayons, porn, physics.
It totally goes together.
Yeah. My physics teacher was a big porn person. Loved it.
What was her name?
I don't know. She was Polish. I failed the class. I had to retake it.
Took physics. I wasn't allowed. I was going to make drugs. So before we wrap, I like, of all the episodes you have done and of all the people that you have spoken to, like what's either, or maybe both, what's been your most favorite episode and or controversial?
Oh man. So we're not really too controversial. I mean, we have some controversial guests, like, if you love or hate Buck Angel, we've had him on. We've also had, let's see. I mean, controversial, I want to say, like, we've had Lauren Phillips on. She's the porn star, but we kind of made her cry. So that's only controversial for me.
Right.
It was like early COVID days, and she's like, we don't need to social and distance. And we were not having it. And it was funny because towards the end, she was like, I'm afraid of airport germs. Bitch, this is like the worst airport germ. But God, we have so many good episodes. I mean, we've done everything from, gosh, I'm trying to think. Let me think of some recent good ones that we've done. Like this past week, we have Lily LeBeau, where we were reviewing American Horror Story porn. It's dropping actually the episode today, where there was like what do you call it when you have, I'm forgetting the word for it at the moment, where you have someone, a conjoined twin. So there was like a conjoined twin dick sucking moment where there were two heads sucking the same dick. It was amazing. Huh. They spent the entire budget on that.
That's a hell of a makeup job.
Wow. I have no words.
We have an upcoming episode with, let's see, Barry Lynn, who he's a reverend. So we had a reverend on to talk about the Mises Commission and like what he's done for, fighting for the rights of porn and speech for the last, 40 years. We are having, oh my God, Jesse Case was such a good episode where we reviewed the porn version of Ex Machina, the sci-fi film from 2014,
I remember.
appropriately called Sex Machina.
Perfect. Just added one letter. It's not bad.
There's some great porn titles. Like Fap to the Future was one of my personal favorites. Gosh. There's just so many good porns out there. I feel like we have an episode for everyone.
Yeah.
So yeah, check us out. Two Girls One Mic, spell out the whole thing. Not like number 2, but like, just letter Two Girls One Mic. So yeah, twogirlsonemic.com. People can find all of our episodes there. We have over like 110 episodes now.
Awesome.
Jeez. And yeah, so, whether you want to learn more about teledildonics or hear about Tom Arnold complimenting me that if I were a Nazi, he jerked off to me, then, we've got something for everyone, or just Tom Arnold.
And you can never get enough of Tom.
What a psycho.
He's a sweet guy, though.
I'm sure he is. It's just, that's so funny that he said that.
You want to hear the funniest thing, though?
Yes.
So we were at his house last year, and his kid was in the background playing with TikTok, and like early days of TikTok.
Yeah.
And the kid is also like recording parts of what he's saying at any given moment. So there's like, I'm sure some journalist one day is going to find like clips of Tom Arnold talking and trade secrets with like Nancy Pelosi or the head of, I don't know, the Planned Parenthood on TikTok off like his kid Jax's, this, 7-year-old's account with music blasting, maybe like Meg 36 Stallion in the background.
That's funny.
It exists.
Yeah, I'm sure. And Nick's going to hunt it down tonight for sure.
Yeah, dude. Fuller holes. Can't wait.
I know. He's going to be sending me screenshots. He's like, you see this?
It's not even that good, that one. If you're going to watch a porn, are you into The Big Lebowski?
Yes.
I loved that movie so much.
The name on my door of my office, it doesn't have my name on it. It just says The Dude Abides.
Yay. Okay. The porn is brilliant.
Really? Okay.
They had a fantastic budget when they did that. Danny's in it too. She makes a cameo.
What's it called?
The Big Lebowski XXX. But I'm not kidding when I say it's done very well. The storyline's consistent. The editing's good. And they basically put all the sex scenes where you expect them to be.
Okay. So it's not just like out of nowhere sex starts happening.
Correct.
The rug really did tie the room together. I'm sure it needed a cleaning afterwards.
Yeah, someone jerked off on the rug instead of pissing on it.
Of course. So listen.
Oh, wait, no. Wait, I take it back. They jerked off on the VHS tapes, which were on the rug.
Right. I absolutely have to watch that tonight. That's awesome. Thanks for the tip.
You're welcome.
And thanks for hanging out. This was fun. This was a little different than I expected. And you clearly are a brilliant person with an awesome show.
Don't say that.
And, well, Nick, have we had a physicist on before? I don't think so.
Nope. That's new.
We definitely have not had on a dirty crayon inventor. I think we've marked it on that. And I think what we like to talk about, in these type of episodes when we have people on that are sits a little outside the comedy space, is, what makes it unique and different. And you guys certainly have very unique spin on what you guys do. And it's not, it's obviously not gratuitous, and it's smart. And I think it's awesome. Really appreciate you coming on.
And we are a comedy podcast too. I mean, in comedy interviews, I think we're like 150 in all of iTunes comedy interviews or something. Right. So not terrible.
Yeah, it's good.
Beautiful. Love it.
So someone finds us funny.
You have a new fan in me, that's for sure.
Yeah, you sure do. Obviously we know where you can find you. Is there anything else you want to plug, like your Instagram or Twitter handles or anything like that?
Yeah, I guess. So find the show again, twogirlsonemic.com. Find the crayons, offensivecrayons.com. Find me on Twitter at Rational Blonde. I don't really use Instagram and I don't really use Facebook, but I guess when I'm not banned, I use the show handle, which is at TGOM Podcast. That's on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So you guys can find everything from there too at TGOM Podcast or offensivecrayons.com. There's even a link to the show there where it says our podcast.
Yeah. And we'll list it all in the notes. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
A great rest of your week.
Enjoy that tequila. I'm probably going to go buy it soon so I could try it with my friends. That'll be great.
And I'll send you the Manscaped info.
Yeah, totally. Would love that, Greg. Thanks.
You got it.
Bye.
Bye.